First and foremost, welcome everybody to this live demo. This is one of the first live demos that we're doing. And the reason why we're doing this today is because of this big release that we just had last week on Back4App containers. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see or try out some of the releases, but we made some significant process in the platform, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Gus Oliveira from Back4App. And here with me, we have Alex, the architect that you guys know and are very familiar with from all of our YouTube videos and our live dev talks. And we also have Alison Mello, who is one of Back4App's co-founders. And the best thing about having them here is that there are two of the people that are responsible for the releases and for Back4App containers. So Alex is going to walk us through some of the releases, some of the things that are new in the containers platform. And at the end, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, it's the perfect time to ask because, we have two of the people that are responsible for the platform. So feel free to type your questions away in the chat box that it's already enabled. And there's also a Q&A box. So feel free to type your questions there as well. All right. So without further ado, let's go take a look at the new containers releases. So Alex, you can take it away.
Hey, hello everyone. I'll have to ask you to excuse me. I got a cold, so my voice is quite bad today, but hopefully you'll be able to understand me. So let me share my screen with you to show everything that we got new on Back4App containers. Can you guys see my screen? Good.
Yep.
So this is the new redesigned page for Back4App containers, and we have much more information, better shown and mostly concentrated in this first screen, so you don't have to navigate too much to get to the information that you need. So the first thing you're gonna notice in here is that up here, it will show the number of free containers that you're running, and we allow for you for run 600 hours per month or per 30 days for free containers. These are shared by all your free containers and is reset every 30 days. And it's only being accounted if the container is running. So if the container is stopped or sleeping, you're not consuming any hours. Here I have a list of my apps, and in here you can also see some of the new design that we did. The first one is the ability for you to favorite containers. So once you click this, it will go to a new list up there. So it's much easier for you to identify specific favorite containers. Also from here, you'll see the status of your container, the URL, and the plan for that container that's running. So if you enter this app, you'll notice that we used a more condensed design in a widget-like strategy to show relevant information. So up here, you have information about your plan, a basic CPU graph of the consumption of CPU of your container, and all these metrics are real time, so you can get what your container is using exactly at that moment. Also the RAM that your container is using. Down here, you'll notice the last deployment logs, so you can expand this and see in a system-like screen all the logs for the building part of your container. And down here, you see the running logs for your container. This used to be here in the log section, but now it's much easier to read since it's right down below the deployment log. So as soon as you finish the deployment, you start real-time logging for running applications down here. And this also can be expanded, making it easier to read and search through. Also from here, we have this metrics panel. This is new. And in here, you get a more...
Sorry, Alex, let me just complement the information. all those widgets are real time. So even deployment logs or running logs, all of them are real time. And we planned the whole platform to for this real time experience. So that's the you will always see the most updated information about your application.
Yeah, and this also makes really easy for you to debug when you're deploying or running your container. Because if you have some kind of logging that's not real time, it's hard to catch when something goes wrong. But if it is real time, you can see exactly the moment where it went wrong, and it's very easy for you to debug and fix. So back here on the metrics, you have a larger time frame for those metrics that we found in the overview. So we have CPU, and what I think is really cool about this section here is that all these charts are in a deployment basis. So right now I have only one deployment over here and only one chart, but if I have multiple ones, I'll get a list over here so you can see the difference that each deployment is using resources. So if, for instance, you submit a new deployment and it starts suddenly to use more CPU, you know exactly which deployment started giving this issue. So it's much, much easier for you to understand when some issue started happening, and therefore it's also easier for you to fix it. So this is in a percentage scale, so it covers as many CPUs as you have, and also you have the RAM consumption of your container also in a per deployment basis. The RAM is in a gigabit scale, so you know exactly how much RAM you're using for that container specifically. You have the number of processes that are running inside that container, and this means the number of PIDs running in there. So if you have any kind of application that rises new processes and it starts raising way too much, it's easy for you to see which one is taking those resources from your system. Network in and network out are the consumption of network traffic inside and out of your application. So you can also check how your servers are behaving to your end users. And then we have two distinct disk usage charts. The first one is the total disk usage. This contains everything that's related to that container, including the build phase of the container and the compiled image for it. Once your container is built and start running, then for that specific container that is running, you have the container disk usage. So this includes the image and all the files needed in order for you to create the container, and this is only the container after it is running. So it's very, very easy for you to see how much you're consuming from the system for your specific application. And if you need to take action on some kind of consumption that you have, it's very, very easy to identify which one and how to fix it. So now that we have this, something really, really cool is that now we support custom domains. So many times when you use Back4App containers in a previous iteration, you saw this URL over here, which is the URL that you use to access your application. But when you have a production application, especially if it's a scaling application, you gotta use your own domain so your users trust the website or application they're opening. And we now support this. All you have to do is to click settings, and here in domain, you can click add domain and add a domain over here. We can go through this right now and see how it works. And I have in here a Cloudflare configuration that I'm going to delete and create a new one so we can see how it works. So all I have to do is to put in my custom domain over here. I'm going to configure this cognitiveengine.com. So copy, and I'm going to paste in here Jenkins, which is my application. Oops. dot cognitive-engine.com. There we go. If I have already redirects, so I can set those here as well. When I click add, it will show the CNAME entry I have to enter in here in order to validate that I really own that domain. So it's telling me that I have to create a CNAME type for jenkins.cognitive.engine.com, and I have to paste in this value over here. So I'm going to copy it by clicking this icon here, and back to Cloudflare, we're going to add a new record, choose the type CNAME, put it Jenkins, and you'll see that specifically for Cloudflare, it already completes for jenkins.cognitive-engine.com. In some other domains, you might have to type everything, but not here. And then here on the target, you can paste in the information you just copied. You have to turn off the proxy and click Save. Now my CNAME entry is already added in there. And if I come back here, you can see the valid configuration was checked and it's now generating the SSL certificate. And for some reason, it just failed. Not sure why. Perhaps because I had this one done before.
Because it's live, Alex.
No, I think it's because I had the Jenkins already configured first. So let's try another one. So Jenkins 2 dot cognitive-engine.com. And no redirect. There we go. So copy this. Back over here, we can delete. Click add record, choose CNAME.
You can also turn on the proxy if you want to use the Cloudflare proxy, but here, just for demonstration, we want to use just the DNS server of Cloudflare, so that's why we turn it proxy off.
There we go. Let's wait a little bit. It should validate it for me. It usually takes a while. Always when you have to deal with DNS, it usually takes a while.
Let's answer some questions while we wait for this this recognition.
Yeah, not a problem. Ed wants to know, can you invite people to collaborate on a container?
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat, please?
Okay. Can you invite people to collaborate on a container?
I don't think so. I don't think at this point we can. The collaboration part of Back4App is mainly focused on the platform as a service. So I don't think we can invite people to collaborate.
Yeah, for now, collaboration is not available, but for sure will be like, that will be a feature that's on our backlog, and we are planning to implement on the upcoming releases, but yeah, now it's not available.
It's not validating for some reason. Not exactly sure why. Let's try to delete it. This should work. Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that I was using this before. Perhaps you can find another app and make that one work. No, I don't think so. All right, we can go back here later on. Just make sure everything is clean over here. I'll be doing another deployment so we can use that one to create a custom domain. And something that is also new is that now we fully support WebSockets. This is something that most of you have been requesting, and it's very important when you have to do real-time data delivery to your end clients. And this is why we created this GitHub repo with some Docker file and server.js file that runs a WebSocket server. So you can test it out. And also we have the Visual Studio project that connects to this WebSocket. We're going to do this in production right now. So back to Back4App containers. And by the way, Gus, if you can email to everyone the links for these repos, it would be awesome. But if you don't get the email, it's already on our YouTube channel. Be sure to watch that video. So I'm going to create a new app. And in here, as you can see, I have my WebSocket project, which is exactly the same one that we have here. I'm going to select this one and call it my WebSocket. And just hit create app. Once again, you can see the logs in real time. And once we got our container running with the deployment succeeded message, we can go on. There we go. As you can see, everything is real time. So as soon as my deployment is ready, you can see the logs started showing over here, the running logs. And we can try to configure the DNS for the custom domain for this one here. So let's add a domain. So let's call this websocketalex.cognitiveengine.com. Oops, I think I didn't copy it. There we go. No redirect. Click add. And now I have to put in this value over there. So add record, cname, WebSocket, oops, alex.cognitiveengine.com, paste this in, turn off proxy, save. Wait a little bit and it should validate, hopefully.
Alex, I don't know if you want to take another question while it validates, but we have a question asking, is it possible to use containers together with backend?
Yes, I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, you can have some services running on the container that you can consume from the backend as a service. And you can also persist data on the backend as a service from the containers platform. What I don't recommend, however, is for you to install, parse, and try to run it yourself from Back4App containers. Mostly because through the years of experience we had in Back4App, we optimized parse so much on the back end as a service that it's very hard for you to achieve the same results creating a installation from scratch by yourself. So if you are interested only in using the backend as a service platform, go and use the backend as a service platform by itself, because it's so much more optimized than you will be able to achieve it by yourself running it from here. But communication between these two platforms is totally possible and mostly work if you need to consume one platform from the other one.
Yeah, you can, for example, run a front-end code in containers and connect to the backend on Back4App backend. It's totally possible, as Alex said.
Yeah, now it worked. So you can see you have a valid configuration. It generated the SSL correctly, and it's now releasing. And of course, releasing something with DNS can take some while, but as soon as it does, you'll be able to access your application through this URL over here. But what we are interested right now is in this URL over here, so you can access it without any releasing. And I'm going to be running it from Visual Studio. So remember, all this code is available to download. All you have to do is to go to our repo, download it, and you'll be able to run it yourself. And I have to paste in over here on the URL, the URL for my container. When I save it, now let's go back to GitHub and inspect what's going to happen when I run this code. So if I open server.js, you see the first logs here 1, here 2, here 3, and here 4. This showed up on my overview. If I scroll all the way up, here 1, here 2, here 3, here 4. And now that my container is listening, Once it gets a message, it's going to listen on port 8080. And once I get a connection, it will start listening for messages. Once I got a message, so socket on message, it will print to the containers logs, received message, and then my message, and it's going to answer back to my front end. You say it, and then the message I sent. So back to Visual Studio, I'm going to send a hello server, and what's expected for me to see at the end of this execution after it connects to the WebSocket is you said hello server. So we're going to run it by typing node client.js. When I click enter, there you go. You said hello server, and notice the connection is still open. So I can keep sending multiple messages from here if I want. And if I go back to the containers and scroll all the way down, received message, hello server. So it's very, very easy for you to integrate your WebSockets in Back4App containers and deploy your software with real-time data delivery that's totally supported from now on. So this is something that you have been requested and is now totally supported. Last but not least, let's take a look on the domain section. It's still releasing. This usually takes a while. I had previous experiences where it took more than 24 hours for the DNS to propagate. So you just have to wait for the propagation, and at the very end, you will be able to access through this URL over here. But the main point is you are now able to provide the services for your end clients from Back4App containers using your own domains. So, any more questions, Gus?
Yes, we have a few questions here left from some of them regarding the metrics dashboard. What's the time frame for those metrics? Is it possible to expand them?
Good question. So let's go back and take a look. I think the Jenkins one is the more complete. So this widget dashboards over here takes 1 hour. So every space between bars here is half an hour. But if you want a more detail and a longer time frame, here on the metrics, you have 3 hours of logs. Now, at this point, it's not possible for you to expand the time of the time frame of the chart, but it's a good idea. Perhaps in the future we can implement it. So 3 hours here in the metrics panel and 1 hour here on the overview.
All right. Now, what is the difference between total disk usage and disk usage?
Yeah, we went through this in the beginning of the presentation. Full total disk usage takes in consideration the whole container, including the image building phase. So the image compilation and the base image is stored and is used in total disk usage. Now, once your containers is built and starts running, then only for that running container, you have container disk usage. So this contemplates everything, including the image, and this contemplates only the running container.
All right. Now, another question is there, are there any limitations to storage?
There is a limitation to storage. I don't have the number over here. Perhaps you do, Alison, but we have to limit this kind of resources because it has a price. So we cannot just allow everyone to save as much data as they want, because it will take out data from other people. So we do have a limitation on the storage that you can use.
I believe that it's 2 gigabytes, but I will confirm.
According to the chart, it is. So the 2 gigabytes for the container running.
Right. And in terms of limitations, how often are the containers limits restored? Is it every 30 days or is it at the beginning of each month?
I didn't quite hear you. Can you repeat, please?
Okay, the limitations for containers for the platform, are they restored every 30 days or is it at the beginning of every month?
I think it is every 30 days. So it doesn't matter if it's the beginning of the month or not, but I have to confirm this as well. I don't have this information for sure. I really think it's 30 days.
All right, great. And another question we have here is in regards to custom domains. In your opinion, what do you see as the advantages of using custom domains?
Well, most clients, I mean, end users of your application, they don't trust a application that hits a domain that they don't know. So if you start publishing applications that hit jenkins-alex.b4a.run, most people might have trust issues with it. When you have your custom domain, especially if you have an SSL certificate published for that domain, proving that you have the ownership of it and that is a secure domain with secure connections to it, most end users tend to think it's a more legitimate platform and they trust it more. So one of the reasons that people want to use custom domains is to enforce users to trust the brand and the domain itself. And also it's easier for you to remember because if you have the domain that points to your company or to your app, people tend to remember the domain and associate it with your app, which is not exactly the case if you have a b4a.run in the domain that you're publishing.
All right, and we have a couple more questions here. Do you guys generate the SSL certificate?
We generated the SSL certificate through a third-party service that, if I'm not wrong, is do you remember the name, Alison? Let's Encrypt, maybe?
Yeah, we generate Let's Encrypt certificate with 1 year validation. And after that 1 year, we renew the certificates for you. In the next release, we will see more information about the certificates on custom domain section. And yeah, we will manage those certificates for you. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be one of the last questions that we had is what's the expiration date for those certificates? Like you said, it's 1 year?
1 year usually.
Yeah, 1 year. I'd like now to make a question for our audience. If you guys can share with us your thoughts and, in your opinion, what's missing for your experience to make like better, to make what's missing on containers, for your use case, what will be the next thing that you would like to see on containers, considering the kind of application you guys are developing with us? You guys can type on the webinar chat, or if anyone would like to join us on the panel section, it's just to click on raise hand, and I will invite you guys to jump on this. But if you prefer, you can just type here on webinar chat window. Okay.
And if you have suggestions, this will also go to the YouTube channel. So if you watch this later on, just comment out on YouTube. We will always read and answer all the comments in there. So leave your suggestions. We are always listening and always trying to implement all the things that you need to operate your apps from Back4App containers.
Ed is asking, not sure if we saw it, but what are the ways to filter down the logs?
Yeah. Yeah,
I-
that's on our design, but it's still not implemented yet. It's a good suggestion. Yeah, very good one.
Yeah, but once you open up in full screen like this, you can search with Command F very easily. So if you want, for instance, to look for warnings, you can just do it like this. It will highlight everything and you can navigate through those. So if you need to identify something specific in the logs and you know what you're looking for, it can be done like this.
Right. Great. Well, guys, we don't want to take too much longer than we have today because I know everybody has a busy day and lots of things going on. So thank you, everybody, for taking part, taking this time out of your day to join us. It was great hearing from you, hearing some feedback, hearing all these great questions that some people sent to us via email. Thank you, Alex, once again. And thank you, Allison, once again. And we look forward to hearing back from you guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
participation. And yeah, we are all ears. If you want to drop us a message, feel free. My email is alison@back4app.com, and you can drop a message for me or for any other in this conversation at any time. So yeah, let's make a platform. We are making this platform for you guys. So yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.